This is awesome.
Welcome,
Hi.
everyone.
Hi, everybody. Oh, it's so great to see your faces. Thank you guys for turning on your cameras. Let me see a face. I love it. I love to see, as you know, I think if anybody knows me, I'm Dr. Daugherty, and you know I love my students. If there's anything I love, it's my students. Well, I love my dogs too, and I bring them to campus. So yeah, I love to see your face, or at least as Amy did, a picture of your face, Victoria.
And all cameras on will be entered into a raffle to win $25 beach bucks. So we're going to do the raffle right after the session. So only
we are?
Yeah, with cameras on.
Fantastic.
So
I love it. It was said, I see Holly. There she is. I wonder if I can. Do you see her, Debbie? Holly
Yes.
Taylor Ferris. Could you spotlight her for a minute?
I can.
She is my partner in crime in Journalism 498, and she will be doing section 4, heading it up. And at the end, Holly, you might have some questions or some things you want to add. And I hope to see you over a break so that we can kind of I want to take you out to dinner or lunch or drinks or something. Yeah, I do. Just to go over, just to talk about stuff. Oh, you look so pretty. Oh, girl, you're looking gorgeous. I'm not supposed to comment on people's how they look anymore, but I'm so old, it doesn't matter. People put up with me. Okay, great. Okay, shall we get started, everybody?
yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, now thank you guys for being here. I'm so excited to have you here. This is the last of internship week, and this is when I go over all the requirements of 498, and I have a lot of students who have tons of questions about internships. They want to know how they get them. They want to know, how do I turn the internship into a job? How do I get my dream internship? All that stuff. And that's really important that I address some of those things in this Journalism 498 session. So Debbie, would you mind putting up my PowerPoint?
Sure.
And screen share it? Oh, this is Debbie. Debbie, can you spotlight yourself?
Not while I'm trying to share.
Okay, there she is. There she is. But anyway, she is a technology expert from the College of Liberal Arts, and she has been invaluable to us this week, and it's pretty cool. Just go to the first slide.
Yeah, I accidentally hit something there.
Oh, that's okay. Let's go
there
up to there you go. So thank you again. And this is all about Journalism 498 internship. But even if you're not registered for the class, this is going to help you prepare for the class, but also get lots of internships. So this is what you need to know for now. So Debbie, go ahead and. Okay, so this session will be recorded. Your microphones will be muted for now. You can ask questions in the chat, which will be monitored by Dr. Fleming. And if you've never met Dr. Fleming, don't worry about spotlighting her. She was spotlighted in the beginning. She is one of our 2 academic advisors, and she is also chair of the department and doing a wonderful job. So, oh my gosh, wouldn't you know, somebody called me. Okay, I just turned it off. Okay. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Next slide, Debbie. We kind of go with the flow is what we do here. Debbie, can you go to the next slide? Oh, here you go. Okay. Oh, back up for me there. There you go. Now, finding an internship that meets the course requirements. Okay, I'm going to go through this list. The first thing you guys need to know, you guys are, all right, I don't know who's, hold on, you guys. Dr. Daugherty speaking. Oh, I'm in the middle of the PowerPoint for those students. Okay, sorry, thank you. It's tech services, sorry, you guys. My screen has been shaking. It might shake again, and they were trying to fix it. So they're a little late though. Okay, first of all, I want you guys to know that you have all the skills and talents. You do not realize how incredibly valuable your skill set is. So you have taken an enormous amount of classes. Have you ever seen those master classes? Well, you've had master classes from some of those talented people in Southern California, both in public relations and journalism. You have a skill set. You might say to me, well, I don't have confidence in it. You should have confidence in it. Even if you got C's, you still have a wonderful skill set. Know that you do, and you've got all the goods. And my students are hardworking. We're all hardworking here. So you've got the skills and the talent, and know that. If you attended yesterday's session with Elizabeth Campos, who got the New York Times internship, she'll tell you she applied 10 times to NBC Universal. She applied at the last minute for the New York Times and never thought she'd get it. You have the talent. So second, you are in one of the world's largest media markets, the second in the United States. It's Los Angeles, all of Southern California. The internships that qualify for Journalism 498 credit, you guys, are abundant. They're all over the place. We have a listing. I'll show them to you in a little bit, but they're everywhere. For instance, I have to tell you, some of my students turned me on to internships in the cannabis industry. I thought at first, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is going to qualify, but you'd be amazed. They're hiring the best communication teams to do their cannabis, establishments. It's a big industry now. So you'd be surprised what's out there. Third, if you are taking Journalism 498, which is required of every journalism and public relations student, you need to find an internship. Start looking now. Some application deadlines have passed, not very many. Some are coming quickly up, and some will have their pool open until certainly the beginning of the semester, and they'll probably close their spring internships probably the second week of the semester. And by the second week of the semester, I want to make sure you're absolutely secure with your internship, but you need to start looking now. So that's great because you've got winter to do it. You've got after finals. I'd say, think about finals right now, but as soon as finals are over, start applying, and I'll give you resources pretty soon. So you have to apply to many, many, many internships. It's kind of like fishing. Have you ever gone fishing? You keep throwing the line out to get a fish. That's the way it is. When I have a student in the second week said, I couldn't find anything, and I said, tell me where you applied. They give me 5 sites. I said, you should have been doing 20 a day. Seriously, just keep throwing it out there. Follow up if you don't hear from them. And by the way, do not ever let rejection affect you. We all get rejected. You guys, for 10 years, I applied for a sabbatical here on campus, and I finally got one, and nothing discouraged me. I just kept applying. Elizabeth Campos from yesterday's session, she's been out 3 years. She graduated 3 years ago. She applied to NBC Universal 10 times, she told us, before she got accepted. Don't worry about rejections. It's not personal. They might already have somebody lined up and they just have to advertise. So and that's the same way with the job. Don't let rejection affect you. Just go forward. Okay. Now, see the Career Development Center for free help, because you've already paid your activities fees. You've already paid the price for the services at the Career Development Center. Use them. They'll give you free help with your cover letter and your resume. Make them great. You might say, I haven't had anything I can put on my resume. Believe me, you have a ton of stuff you just haven't thought about. Whether you were in the church choir, and if you don't have anything from the university, you have stuff from high school. I'd put it all on there. All of you work, or a lot of you do. I'd say the majority of our students work outside of school to pay the bills. You got to put that down. If you've done service learning activities, if you're public relations, which you're required to do, put that down. Put your daily 49er reporting, whatever you've done, put it down. And see the Career Development Center. Those specialists will meet with you one-on-one if you like more personal attention, or they'll do it through Zoom. And they also have a lot of resources online. And once the course opens, I also have learning modules on how to do a cover letter and a resume. Okay, next, Deb. Okay, so here's what I want you to focus on. You have to get your own internship, and then I will approve it. And I'll tell you how that process works. But there are basically different types of internships. I always tell my students, get 3 before you graduate. And if I mentor freshmen, I have 10 freshmen I mentor. And I try and get them into internships right away. But there are basically 3 types. And this is in the academic literature and professional literature as well. There are freshman level internships, and they expose you to the field. Maybe you'll accompany a reporter, maybe you'll get coffee and make copies. If you're in public relations, you might put together clip books, or update media lists, things like that. And there are sophomore and junior level internships where you get exposure to the field, and they might have you do some writing. If you're interested in photography, take some pictures, cover some events, things like that. But you got to do senior level internships. And believe me, you guys, you do not want to waste your time. You have worked way too hard in our program to do an internship that's beneath you. So you want a senior level internship, one focused on skill development, which is writing, designing, like if you use Photoshop or any of the programs, you've all taken 305, or a lot of you have. Design classes, multimedia, podcasts, doing videos, writing feature stories, news stories, press releases, backgrounders, all that stuff. So Journalism 498 is our basic it's the highest you can get. So it is a senior level class. But, sometimes Dr. Fleming, if you're not a senior yet, you have a good opportunity to talk to her or talk to Professor Newton, who's also one of the advisors. So you've got to find that internship that is focusing on skill development. So Deb, next slide. Okay, what is skill development? That's writing. I'm going to look for writing because we're journalism and public relations, and that's the basic task. Editing, you might do editing. Photography, take pictures. You might design flyers, you might design layouts, you might design websites, you might produce podcasts, you might produce videos, you might produce all kinds of stories, multimedia stories. So look for those types of things. Do you have to do 100% of your work has to be that? No, I'll look for about 3/4 of your work. And then of course, we all have to do clerical things, menial tasks, administrative tasks. That's normal. And sometimes you guys, they start you out with those menial tasks to see what you can handle. So know that you might not be doing that right away. You'll do the more administrative things to get oriented. And then after about the 3rd week is when you start doing more of these, and they'll give you, as you do them, they'll have more confidence in whether you can do them well. So this is the work that you can display in your portfolio and show a potential employer, what you'll need to make you marketable. And those materials you need to show to me too. I asked for about 7 to 10 examples at the end of the semester. I asked for about 5 of them halfway through the semester. I want to see that you're doing it. And that's going to earn you credit. So our specific requirements for the class is you have to do 100 hours throughout the enrolled semester. Can you do more hours? Of course you can. And some of your internship sites, you guys, will require that you do more hours than our little 100 hours. Your internship may involve much more than what we require in 498. Like you might do event planning where you'll have to man maybe registration tables and things like that. Those are those additional tasks you could put, you can do, but they won't earn you the hardcore credit in 498. But they're good experiences for you. And they may involve many more hours than 498 requires. That's normal. So the internship requirements may be a bit more rigorous than what we require, but we do require that you do skill development work. Okay, next, Deb. Okay, now, because you're in journalism 498, the work must be related to journalism or public relations. So what is journalism? That means you're working in media organizations, like you work at TV stations, news networks, sports networks, a website that does only sport reporting. We've got several of those, newspapers, magazines, news radio. You usually reporting. You're assisting reporters, you're doing production editing, they might give you a bunch of a video and they'll ask you to edit it and they'll teach you how to edit it. That's great stuff. Writing, editing, covering stories. And in a television station, if you're in the newsroom, you'll be working the assignment desk, meaning you're answering the phones, but those are important phone calls. Those are people pitching you stories, public relations people pitching you stories. Somebody has an accident, they call the newsroom. So you do a lot of that. You write those summaries, and then usually they have you oversee the AP wire as well, the stories coming off there, and have you write little tidbits about that and what should go in the air. So next, Deb. Okay, now public relations or communication internships, those are pretty much the same. So public relations, you could work for a company. Like on Tuesday, we had somebody from Microsoft. They were all grads. Microsoft, it could be a nonprofit like the American Cancer Society. It could be, it could be, oh my gosh, one great one we have is Stand Up for Kids. They have so many internships available. It's such a great nonprofit. And humane societies, you guys, you wouldn't believe how many of my students since the pandemic, and we do things a lot remotely, that they actually have worked for humane societies in Northern California and been here in Southern California, and they've raved about their work. And of course, public relations agencies. Like if you saw yesterday's session, BR is from Sampson and Associates. So you can do all that. So what are you doing there in public relations? You're writing stories for newsletters. You're writing press releases, fact sheets, biographies, backgrounders, blogs. You're writing social media posts. You're designing collateral materials such as brochures, newsletters, flyers. You're also maybe taking pictures and creating multimedia. You might be doing YouTube videos for social media and websites. Now, JPR students, okay, you might say, okay, we have a BA in public relations and a BA in journalism. Some of your classes are the same, but then the more advanced classes are somewhat different. And although you can take each other's courses as electives, and JPR students can do either a journalism or a public relations communication, marketing communications internship. So maybe you're a public relations student and you think, you know, I'd really like to report and cover stories for a newspaper, maybe a small newspaper like the Signal Hill Tribune or the Beachcomber. I want to try that. Or maybe you're in journalism and you say, you know, I want to do social media. I've always been interested in that. I've taken courses now in digital media, and there's none that I can find for a news organization. Maybe I'll do it for a company. Or maybe your journalism, you're thinking, you know, I want to keep my options open, doggone it. And maybe I want to, you know, maybe I can't get a job in journalism, and maybe I'll try public relations. So I'll do an internship there, and vice versa. So you've got a lot of opportunities. Deb, next. Okay, so I told you about, you guys, you have to have skill development, and I will look for that. And I'll tell you the process in a minute, how I look for that. But, oh, okay. One last important thing, your site supervisor is your mentor and teacher. Professor Ferris and I actually oversee your work and make sure that it meets the criteria. And believe me, it's not an easy job and that we do this, but the person that you'll be interacting most at your internship will be a mentor to you and your teacher. That's why that person must be seasoned. And meaning that's lots of years of professional experience in the field of journalism or public relations, or perhaps both. Hopefully, that seasoned professional will have 5 years of managerial experience on top of being a seasoned professional, meaning that that person will be an editor or an account supervisor or somebody who's a public relations or communications manager or director. It cannot be someone who just graduated a few years ago with a BA or BS in journalism or communications or from another university. And typically, account coordinator is an entry-level position. And sometimes you guys, that won't even work. It won't work because you, in many cases, you'll have more of an advanced skill level than that person. So you need a real site supervisor. And I screen their background, and so will Professor Ferris. So you must provide the background on your site supervisor. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. So next, Deb. Internships must be screened for journalism 498 approval. So I will be screening sections 1, 2, and 3, and section 4 is done by Professor Ferris. Now, how do we, I should put we, screen your internship sites to ensure you have the potential of your earning 3 units of academic credit for 498? One, you'll complete an application, which is found on the JPR Internships website. And I'm going to show you where that is in a little bit. It's going to have vital information about your site. You're going to tell me the type of organization it is, the location. You can't put remote for the location unless it doesn't have an address, but there's got to be an address for the organization. So you're going to give me phone numbers, emails. You're going to tell me a lot. A skill development task you'll be doing, writing, editing, design work, that kind of thing. And you know, when you interview for these positions, if the job description's kind of broad and it said you'll have the opportunity to write, you ask what kind of writing you'll be doing. And by the way, you should be choosy. You know, you don't have to take the first internship that's been offered to you. If you're really taking this seriously, you should pick and choose and see what's best for you. Okay, so you'll need to provide background on your site supervisor. And that's just not giving me a link to LinkedIn. That's telling me about which should be on LinkedIn, their past employment, their titles, their educational degrees. Sometimes it's on the website, and sometimes you just have to interview the person, and you should do it. All of you know how to interview, and in public relations, you know how to write a biography, and in journalism, you've studied how to write a profile. Same thing, just their background. Okay, so next, Deb. Okay, how do I find an internship? Okay, what I say to you guys is, first, where do you want to work when you graduate? You know, what's your dream job? Your skill, all of you know how to find information fast. We've taught you in your classes, and you probably know a lot on your own too. So use your skills. Go to those organizations like Microsoft. That was one of our Yunsen Wee, one of our grads. She is director at Microsoft for cloud. You know, she just went and she talked about that. They post all their internships on their website. Think about where you want to go. Okay, that's great. That's the first thing. Just do some research on your own. Yesterday, Aaron Espinoza told us he was always interested in gaming. That's all he wanted to do, was work in the gaming industry, and that's what he did. That's what he pursued. And same, I've got students who are so passionate about sports journalism and sports public relations. Look at those areas. For instance, for years, the head of public relations for the Lakers was one of our grads. And to this day, one of our grads, Mike Altieri, is a VP of public relations at the Kings and AEG Sports. That's the hockey team. You probably all know that. But and his brother, who was also one of my students, was Mark Altieri, and he has Brand Amp, which is a public relations firm that specializes in sports. And you can make connections with these people. They're wonderful, and they love to help our students because they're grads of the program. So the
Dr. Daugherty, I just want to jump in. Don't forget about Asia Garner, a recent grad who's working for the First Lady thanks to her internships.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Yeah, it's awesome. You guys, we have our grads are everywhere, and they are in great positions, and they would love to network with you. And so use those contacts, use your faculty, say, who can I talk to over here, over there, that kind of thing. The next thing, once you do that, the second place is the JPR website. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Deb is going to be my student example. I'm going to have her find it for me. I'm going to tell her where to go, and you can watch. So because all of those sites, I've actually looked at almost all of them that have come to me, and what I do is, when they come to me, these sites, I'll say, can we get writing in there? Can we get skill development, more emphasis on that? And they always say yes. And so it's worked out really well. We have so many sites. In fact, I see Trinity Beasley. I don't know if you can spotlight her, but that's okay if you can't. You can see her. She's there. And is Christina, did you see Christina around? Is she there, Trinity? Yeah, so Christina Marino, she has also, the two of those students that I just, you can see them, that they are the journalism and public relations, the JPR internship ambassadors. And what they've done is they've taken all the past contracts, and they have a lot to do next semester as well, and this month, but they have looked at those contracts and contacted all those sites and said, do you have internships that are open right now? And can you give us that announcement and can we post it? So when I take you to that site, you're going to see all the work that they've done. So then there's the career development. You can go on their Beach link. You can also go to the, not yet. There you go. I can't, so the career development site, the CLA site, also College of Liberal Arts. All of you, I know you hear about, we're a university, but there's a whole bunch of colleges in the university, and we are part of the College of Liberal Arts. And they also will list journalism and public relations and communication internships on the CLA internship site as well. Also, when my course opens, and I can also send you these, we ask all of the students who've taken 498 to write a critique about just a one-page, where you were at, what the information is, how to reach, who the site supervisor is, their email, their phone, whatever, and what kind of internship it was, a description of the site, the qualifications for the internship, and what they thought about it personally. So it's kind of a one-on-one, our students who've taken 498 talking to the new students on what it was like at that internship site. And I post them, and I believe that Professor Ferris does as well. And we also have an Excel database, just a listing of all the internships that have been done by our students in the past. And just to give you an idea of the places you can go and the sites you can contact. So we've got all kinds of resources for you. Okay, next, Deb. Now the pandemic has kind of changed things up quite a bit. Before the pandemic, all the internships were in person. And last year, you guys, they were all remote. Well, even the semester before last year, I remember Dr. Fleming, oh my gosh, had to then contact all her faculty and all of us and say, what we got to do is take those students out of those in-person internships and take them out and do remote. And we had to redo contracts mid-semester. It was crazy. And last year, thank goodness, we just did everything remote. Now this year, it's been great. In the fall, because some students say, I wish I didn't have to do it remote. Well, with the pandemic, there wasn't anything we could do. We just couldn't, risk our students. Although I have to tell you, there was an exception. You could do it in person if we got permission, and the college screened the site as well. So there was a way to do them in person, but it was rare. So this year, you can do them in person or remote. It's up to you, or even a combination. So, and that's the link for getting to the internships, but I'm going to take you there in a minute. That is my email, and I'll tell you why you might want it in a minute. Okay, next slide, Deb. Okay, so Journalism 498, what I want you guys to know about Journalism 498 is it is a real course. So, like a student just emailed me, I was asking for the evaluations. Once you get into the course, I'll get into much more detail, which will all be online. And your site supervisor has to do a 50-hour evaluation on you and a 100-hour evaluation on you. And in the instructions to my students, I say, always type the top of the form for your site supervisor. Give them the form, give them the deadline, and then follow up with them. Be persistent about getting it back. So one student, and I put it in weekly messages, reminders, all kinds of things. It's in the syllabus. It's all over our Beachboard site. A student sent me one back, and she said it wasn't typed, and I said, why didn't you type the top of it? She said, I didn't know. So that tells me she just wasn't alert. I mean, how could you miss that? So it is a real course. You have to follow the syllabus, do the assignments. Do not take the course unless you have time for it and take it seriously. There have been students who say, I really need this course to graduate. So and they'll say, I couldn't find an internship, even though we gave them all kinds of help. And I find them a site and they agree to do it. And then they cancel and say, you know, after working a few hours, I can't do it. No, you represent not only yourself, but you represent the journalism and public relations department, and you represent Cal State Long Beach. So don't take the course if you're not serious about it. You must complete and submit numerous assignments on the 498 Beach Board site by the assigned deadlines during the spring semester. So I will ask you, in like at the beginning of the semester, to introduce yourself and post your photo. And I ask you to make it 500 words, and I tell you what I want to know. And, you know, and so you really have to follow the instructions. And sometimes I think, and I tell you this not because I think all my students are good students and I have their back. But I think with the pandemic and a lot of courses being online, I think sometimes they think journalism 498 is just doing my internship work and not doing the course. And it's going to get you in trouble that way. So I'm just trying to cover, you know, CYAU. Okay, you must read materials and study the learning modules posted in the content section of Journalism 498 Beach Board site. For instance, I had a student 3/4 of the way through the semester say to me, you know, even though you have to also submit your cover letter and resume and LinkedIn page to me at some point. And she said, you know, do you know where I can get extra help on my cover letter and resume? I'm thinking, and I say to her, use the learning modules I posted and go to the Career Development Center. Oh, I didn't see that. I'm thinking, oh my God. Okay. All right. Pinch me. All right. That's okay though. I'm sure I've been like that myself at times. Again, do not take 498 if you cannot devote the time, energy, or attention to it. Save it for another semester. Okay, just do that. But I'll tell you, it's not that big of a deal, these assignments, if you pay attention to the course. And you guys have such talent, you know, have confidence. Don't you know, get worried about rejection. Just keep applying, keep fishing, throwing that line out there, and it'll be great. And you'll do great. And by the way, during the course, I have your back. I'll probably be like your mother, you know, or your grandmother, keep reminding you of deadlines, you know, get that into me, you know, you're 2 weeks late, get it into me, you know, that kind of thing. And so, but you've got it. If you have any trouble, I'll have your back. I'll help you get out of it. If you're not getting the task that you want, you've talked to your site supervisor and you know, oh my God, I'm not going to have enough materials to show Dr. Daugherty. I'm going to intercede and talk to your site supervisor because they'll have signed contracts with me and I'll probably have been in touch with them at some point. So there you go. So next, what we're going to do, that's my slideshow. Now what I'm going to do is Debbie, I'm going to have her pretend she's a student for me. And she is going to go to, can you screen share Google for me? Just a Google search, Debbie? Oh, there she is. Okay. Okay. Well, let me see. You're on Bing. Okay. 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 So I tell her, okay, Debbie, can she hear me?
I can.
Okay, Debbie, just get rid of that for a minute. Just go to Google. Can you go to Google or no?
I can. It'll do the same thing.
I want a lot of our students use Google. I don't know. I might be wrong about that.
It'll do the same thing.
Or can't you just put Google in there?
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Now go to Google, down below, just hit it for the search. There's search. You see it down below? Down at the bottom on the left-hand side, it says search. Oh, okay. Okay, good. Okay, now put in there CSULB. Okay. Journalism internship or internships. Okay. Okay, now see at the top, you guys, this is how I do it. Go to Internships Journalism, College of Liberal Arts, just click that one. There you go. Okay, so see where you guys, it says CSULB, JPR, you see all of our beautiful logos, which were made by students or one student. And you can see, let's look at the menu there. It says, you don't have to touch anything yet, Debbie. About, it says academics, people, advising, clubs, JPR Day, internship, scholarship, student media. You know, use all those links. They're awesome. About tells us about the department, academics, you know, about the program, people that will show you the faculty and all their backgrounds so you can read about who you're taking classes from, advising, you know, our advisors, their hours, how to book an appointment, clubs. We have 4 clubs that are great for networking and finding internships. National Association of Hispanic Journalists, National Association of Black Journalists. We have Society of Professional Journalists and Public Relations Students Society of America. And we have internships. We're going to click on that in a minute. Scholarships, which we usually, pretty soon we'll be dealing with those. And then student media, Daily 49er, we've got 22 West, we've got Digg in Espanol, we have Digg magazine. We've got all kinds of great stuff here, people. Okay, so before I have her click on that, I do want to talk to you about a little bit about different types of internships. And I'll probably go through some of those as I see them online, but we do have some on campus. And I know that Aaron Espinosa was telling us yesterday in the new professionals panel, if you went to that one, that session, he said he really suffers from social anxiety. He's the one who he is the manager of community relations at Insomniac Games, or Somniac Gaming. And he, as an undergrad, had social anxiety. So he didn't really, it was hard for him to really get into the internship thing. So what he did was he looked at all the internships that were available on campus. So we have internships. At the time, he became one of my interns when I was chair of the department. And they did a lot more than the social media internships. At the time, they did special events, they did news releases, they did all kinds of stuff. And we have it configured a little differently. It's kind of divided up differently now. But for instance, we have a social media team. And I know some of you told me you've applied for the positions, and I hope you get them. So we have a social media team. They work together. They meet every Friday with Jen Newton, or Professor Newton, who is their site supervisor. And they're great. And there's one with the Department of Communication Studies. There's one with the honors program. Also, there are internships, you guys, in athletics. There's 2 types over athletics. One, media relations, in which you're doing sports and covering sports on campus and doing the stat book and all of that stuff. And then there's one that is marketing and promotion, where you do special events and write press releases and do social media and things like that. And there's a bunch on campus. So think about that. You might want to do one on campus because it's just easier. 22 West also offers some, and they have to be ones that are overseen by Danny Lemos, who is the general manager. He has to be your site supervisor. There's also some assistant editor positions that are over for the Daily 49er that are mentored by Professor Kingsley Wilson. And then there's a few that are mentored by Professor Jones for Digg, and then also Professor Puente for Digg and Espanol. So not all your work at those, not all positions qualify for internship credit, but there are a few select ones that do, and you'd want to talk to those particular site supervisors. And some of them are already listed, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So know that there are a lot of campus opportunities as well as off-campus opportunities in any number of places. So let's go, Debbie, if you will you go under that menu of internships? Okay, there's profiles. You see Internship Week 2021. This is the last session. Then go under Spring summer internships. Go ahead and hit that. Okay, these are the listings that Trinity Beasley and Christina Marino have followed up on. Some of them have come into the department on their own, but here we have the Department of Journalism and Public Relations. Let me see. Oh, I can't. That's right. I can't. Can you hit on that, Debbie? Here I am trying to link onto it to show you. Okay, so this is a job description. It talks about the 6 interns that are needed. They'll be doing Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok. The deadline is on the 3rd. Good, thank you. Very good. Okay, you could stop right there for a minute, Debbie. You see where it says at the bottom, all JPR social media interns, you know, contribute to the strategy, they assist in creating, they work together. But the last bullet that you see, you guys, that is what this person is looking for. Write stories, create graphics, take photographs, and edit videos as necessary for content. It keep going. I don't know if there's anything else down there, Debbie. Content. Okay, so that's the thing that I'm looking for. And it talks about what your duties are, and keep going, Deb. You're doing great. Okay, and it talks about all the different internships. Keep going. Okay, keep going. Qualifications, you know, must be enrolled. Oh, before you go on, Deb, some internships, it'll say they offer internship credit. There's semantics. They're all wrong. They're not offering you internship credit unless they're paying for your tuition. And some, by the way, there are paid internships. There's one that we received that was paying more like $25 an hour. It was amazing. The deadline has passed. There's another one coming up, 20 an hour. Professor Ferris, one of her colleagues is Dennis Wilcott. He has an agency. He is offering $20 an hour, and it's local, by the way, and he's awesome.
And by the way, he's about to go to other campuses because he hasn't gotten a lot of applications out of Long Beach. So, because he needs somebody soon all the way through next semester. So anyway.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. He is a pretty cool guy too. Because when he originally posted it, I actually, I asked, you know, Professor Ferris, do you mind if I contact him? And I know him too. I'm Facebook friends with him and I know him. I've seen him, known him for years, but she's very close to him, I think. And anyway, I talked to him and I said, can I add writing? He said, absolutely. They'll be doing a lot of writing, but it wasn't on his, it wasn't on the sheet. He said, absolutely.
Sorry, Dr. Daugherty, just a couple of questions. What is the name of the agency? Where is this listing? Is it on the website?
Yep, we're going to show, I'll show it to you. How's that? Yes. And
it's the Walcott group, and it's posted on the department internship page.
Very good. And we'll in fact, I'll show it to you in I am watching the time, by the way. You guys are probably saying, you know, Doc, you only have like, you know, a few minutes.
And we have some questions as well we want to get to. So
okay, let me go then quick. Okay, then at the end, Debbie, keep going, and it says how to apply. And you guys, if you see Jennifer Newton, you want to say, dear Professor Newton. You don't want to say to whom it concerns, you know, write a real cover letter. Talk about your background and your strengths and what you can offer and what you can do for them, and, you know, and get your resume together. Okay, go back, Deb, back to the listing, completely back to the listing. Oh, okay, good. Okay, just go down there, Deb, just scroll down if you would. You can see, we'll come to the Wilcott group. Go a little slower. There's Long Beach State Athletics. Keep going. Here's the Wilcott group. Can you, there's, oh, by the way, Long Beach Memorial, sensational internship, you guys. It's so quality. They give you your own office. It's awesome. Please. Okay. Does everybody see the Wilcott group? Trinity, you see it? Okay. Yeah. there they all are. And thank you. So just scroll down real fast, Deb. There you go, Orange Coast Magazine. Oh, the CSULB Police Department, fantastic internship. This guy is so experienced, the man who oversees it. Tons of seasoned experience in public relations. Keep going down, Long Beach Local News. Ryan is great. You know, oh, so many. Just keep going. The Mesa deadline, that was the $25 one, you know. Okay, go back. Hey, Dr. Fleming, where are the applications? It must be under About. Just go.
They're at the bottom of the About section, correct?
Okay, go. Okay, good. Okay, keep going to the end, Deb. There you go. Show the application. Yeah. And then we'll take the questions. I'm coming, Dr. Fleming. Okay, you guys, this is what you need to fill out for me. Please type it. If you want me to screen your site during winter, you might say, I've got this great site. Will this qualify? Don't send me a message saying, will this work? I'm going to tell you, fill out this form so that I can screen it. You know,
and same goes for section 4. I'll look at those over the break as well. If you have something that you want to know if it qualifies or not.
Right. But even if I say this looks good, you still have to submit it. Everything submitted through Beach Board. That's the only time I accept anything through email. You can't then say, I've done that assignment because you said, okay, you've got it. Once the course opens, you've got to submit those. Okay, keep going down, just, you know, information about it. Keep going, Deb, just keep going. You know, what kind of skill building, keep going. How will you be compensated? I tell you how to answer those. I give you lots of stuff. Is it remote, in person? And some students say hybrid. Okay, that's Dr. Fleming. Thank you, Deb. Ask the questions. Is she
Great.
there?
Okay, yes, I'm here. I've been logging questions. I'll go through them. If anyone would like another, their question asked, put it in the chat and I'll get to it. There was a question asked close to the beginning from Scarlett. Do we have to have an internship at the same time we take the class? Now, I know you answered it in your presentation, but can you please reiterate the policy?
I will indeed. Yes, you have to, you cannot do it at another time. If you're enrolled in Journalism 498 for the spring, you have to do that 100 hours during the spring. We ask that you spread it out over the semester. And most of the sites will want you to spread it out over the semester. And some of them, 100 hours is really a minimum for a lot of the internships. They really want you to do 200 hours. That's fine. Whatever you agree with them is fine, just so you meet the criteria of the course. And so it has to be during the semester. You might start a little later, maybe 2 weeks in. Maybe you already have 100 hours at that site. Maybe you're at a site now, you guys, or maybe you're at a job that you think would qualify because you're doing it. Talk to me, fill out that form. I look at everything, I really do. I might be able to make it work for you. Or maybe you're like, I had one student who was in Neiman Marcus, or this is like the same as Macy's, doing a retail job, and she wanted to do the public relations or communications aspect. She worked with them and got an internship that way. And that worked out great. I don't care if she works there. So, or maybe you're doing reporting now and getting paid for it. Maybe I can make it work for you. Good question.
And to clarify, you could start an internship now, as long as once the semester starts, you keep working there and get 100 hours after the start of the new semester. So I've given that feedback to some of the students in section 4 that, yeah, you can start now, but you better keep it all the way through next semester and do 100 during the actual semester.
Excellent. And by the way, I like you to have your 100 hours done before finals week, because I want you to, you know, pass your finals. But if it doesn't work out that way, just so everything's into me and it's all done by the end of finals. So,
okay, we have some other great questions. So this is from Destiny. Can we do 2 internships in the same semester?
Oh, yes, but only one will be for academic credit, but absolutely you can do as many internships as you want. But for my class and Professor Ferris as well. It's just one internship. And by the way, there's only one site supervisor too. You can't give me two different people. By the way, for a site, like maybe you interviewed with an account coordinator or somebody at the lower end who wouldn't qualify for your site supervisor. It doesn't mean you're not going to work with those people day in and day out. You will. You work with all kinds of people at all kinds of levels, but the person who will be your site supervisor, who can evaluate your work and has that experience, will be somebody who will be seasoned, meaning they have professional experience under their belt.
Okay, and one thing as well, I know you mentioned about 200-hour internships, Professor Daugherty. I know our students are very busy. They're taking probably 5 classes. They have 1 or 2 jobs. So definitely try to manage your time. You don't want to overextend yourself. Even if it's a 200-hour internship, if you don't have 200 hours, and particularly if it's unpaid, that might not be the best internship for you. Okay, from Carter Williams, what about 22 West internships? Do they count?
Yeah, yes, but so only some. And do you remember I mentioned Danny Lemos, general manager? They have to be supervised by him. So 22 West, you've got to look at very carefully, because 22 West has all kinds of opportunities. They have internships that don't qualify for credit, that are supervised by another student. And then they have internships, a handful pretty much, that do qualify for academic credit. And they're very organized. They're overseen by Danny Lemos. He has that you write a certain amount of stories for the 22 West magazine. You've got to do a certain amount of public service announcements for television and radio. He has just a list of things, skill development tasks that you must do. You must put together, produce your own show, radio show, a segment of, so, I mean, they're very doable, but they are supervised by Mr. Lemos.
Yeah, I think that's key, is that, we also have student media in the department that have some internships, but just working at the Daily 49er or 22 West, that's when you work with your instructor in terms of will it be approved? Because the one requirement key here is you need an experienced supervisor, and student media are run by students. So students, that's great. Freedom of expression, we're big supporters of that. But in terms of the internship, who is supervising you? Who is providing mentorship? And who is completing your evaluation? So work with your instructor. It's not like all 22 West or all Daily 49 or all Digg internships are internships for this class. And that was a question also regarding Digg magazine.
Okay.
Do editor positions at Digg magazine count for internship credit?
Okay. Yeah. Do you recall I mentioned Professor Jones, and I also mentioned Professor Puente? You've got at Digg, there are only, I think, only 2 positions that Professor Jones allows as internship credit and that we work with her on. Remember, Mr. Lemos, all your professors who oversee internships, they've worked very closely with myself and also Dr. Fleming. In fact, the whole curriculum committee, to be honest with you. So the faculty are involved in this too, to designate which would qualify for internship credit. So if you are interested in Digg, talk to Professor Jones and which ones. And as far as Professor Puente is concerned, she also has designated, I believe, 3 that qualify for internship credit. So because for internship credit, you have to write, you have to do different things, but you also have to be mentored. And some don't qualify and some do. So talk to them. And some of them are already posted. I mean, I've asked them, and I think both Trinity and Christina have followed up with some of them to get those posted. So check that listing that I showed you, because some of them are already posted, because they're looking now for those sites, those interns.
Okay,
Good question.
great. And one thing about particularly the campus media affiliated with the department, no double dipping for internships. So if you want to do a Digg magazine internship with Professor Jones, there's no taking the magazine production class. And that means you would be getting 6 units for the same amount of work. We can't necessarily disentangle that. So no double dipping for those internships.
Hey, could I also mention before you ask the next question that a lot of students don't realize journalism 498 is required for all students in our program. You need the experience and you need that stuff for your portfolio because you're going to be successful and you want a lucrative career and you want to make money when you graduate. You want to be able to buy a home, maybe start a family, go up the corporate ladder, whatever. Okay, that's really important.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so yeah, we've got a few more questions. We've got to wrap up soon.
Yeah.
And I can help answer this one. Destiny asked, if internships are campus, will they most likely be in person? And Destiny, I can, Professor Daugherty can add, that'll be a case-by-case basis. So we use the example of the social media internship. That makes it clear there are 3 hours on campus required once a week on Fridays. So if you're not available at that time on Fridays, that internship, and you're not available to come to campus, that internship's just not an internship for you. But I think there are some remote internships available, campus internships. It just depends. So that's something you can reach out to the internship supervisor to clarify whether they require in-person or not. So it's a case-by-case basis. Professor Daugherty, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, one thing I know you were getting to that question really fast, but what I wanted to finish my thing is that this 498 is required of all students, but what you don't realize is that you can take it twice. You can actually take it as an elective after you get your requirement. I just wanted you to know that because I saw one of the questions pop up and I thought you might not realize that. And by the way, you can do as many internships as you want on your own outside of 498. You don't need, I saw somebody say, do you need approval to take an internship? No, you can do as many outside, but yes, you do need my approval to take, for that internship to count for credit. Go ahead, Dr. Fleming. I just wanted to get that
definitely.
in there.
In many advising meetings, especially if students need elective units, I say this option. We require one internship affiliated with 498. You can take 498 again, or you could take a traditional academic class as an elective, but the more internships, the better. Bruno, and this question's from someone else. When will the journalism 498 beach board be open for spring so they can start?
Oh, that's a good question. When is it going to be open? Do you know, Dr. Fleming, when administratively they're going to open it?
I'm not sure, actually.
Okay, that's a good question. I'd have to find out. Usually it's usually like mid-January. I don't know. Probably soon, I would think. I'll probably have mine, knowing Professor Farris, she probably has hers ready to open now. Me, not so much. I'll probably have it ready to open probably after the first week of January, if the university will let me open it. So university tells us when it's going to be available, for our classes, or when our classes for that semester can be opened. Right.
I think the goal is as early in January, if not earlier as possible. I would encourage instructors to do that so we can get moving on approvals if people have them over the break.
Oh, no, we can, they can do that now.
You can do it via email. Just do it via email and tell Beach Board's live. And I'll even, for my section, I'll try to send you those Excel spreadsheets and the assessments that students have written about their internships. I'll try to get those together and email those out as documents so that you can take a look at those as you're searching for your internship.
Good. No, yeah, Dr. Fleming, we really, they can do that now.
Okay, great.
Well, I ask you, you send yours to me after finals, because right now I've got to focus on my classes, but between finals and when that opens, you can get that stuff to me.
Okay. So the next question, if you reach 100 hours, say the semester starts January, at the end of January, and you reach 100 hours by spring break, can you leave the internship and pass the class?
I've never had a site that they really want you to stay the whole semester, so I would say no. It would be rare. I've never seen that really happen unless it's some special event they're doing. But no, they usually spread them out. Most sites want them for an academic semester. They're used to having interns. And if you say, oh, I've done my 100 hours, I'm done, that will just leave them up in the air. That won't be cool.
But if they say it's over at the end of April, or the middle of April, then certainly that's okay as long as you've done your 100 hours. But be a good steward of Cal State Long Beach and our department, and stay with the commitment if you committed to the whole semester, even if you hit your 100 hours.
Right, and that's where the contract comes in. You know, if they want you, say we require 100 hours, but the internship program is 140, then you've made that commitment for 140 or whatever is spelled out in the contract. Okay. Is it acceptable to intern for family members?
I don't have a problem with that myself. If I don't myself.
Yeah, if your family works in the industry and they have a good background and they're going to give you good work to do, absolutely.
Okay,
good
great.
Question.
This one is easy to answer. Will yesterday's session be posted to watch if you missed it? All the sessions will be posted on the Internship Week website, which you can find on Internships. So give us about a day or two to post the links there, and then also the 498 instructors will have access to those links as well. Do potential employers do background checks on students?
Depends on the place.
Yeah, not many that I'm aware of. I'll put it that way.
Some government ones might do a basic background, but nothing too deep, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I think, the larger the organization, particularly if they're paid internships, like say you get an internship over the summer at the LA Times, there'll be a more rigorous onboarding experience that might include a background check. I'm not saying they do, but it really depends on the organization. But typically not in my experience for internships. So if we're offered an internship, can we accept it without your approval?
Yeah, that flashed up, and I kind of addressed it, but you can accept as many internships as you want on your own. But if you want 498 credit, you'd be advised, and you want to use that for 498. You fill out that form and get it to me if you're in one of my sections, or Professor Ferris.
And and how you manage that, it's a good practice in communication with your potential supervisor. You just explain, oh, this looks exciting, but I must meet these requirements. I have to be writing, I have to do 100 hours during the semester, and I have to have a supervisor that has many years of experience, including managerial experience. But so I need to get that approval from my professor before I can accept this. But oh, do I want it? Yes, let me get that filled out, and I'll get it to my professors right away. You know, just let them know that that's the requirement for this class, and you need to get sign off.
Okay, if anyone has any more questions, put them in the chat. I have a couple questions that I've thought of. What if I'm a journalism major, but I find an internship that is more related to public relations? Is that okay?
I covered that. That's probably from somebody who came a little later, but yes, you can indeed. And if you came later, by the way, listen to the part that you missed that I went over and look at my PowerPoint. We'll post the PowerPoint there as well. But absolutely, you can, if you're in journalism, you want to do one in public relations, yes. If you're in public relations, you want to do one in journalism, yes, absolutely. I'd say go for it. Definitely. By the way, when they say, and if you look at a listing and it says available for internship credit, as I mentioned to you, if they're saying they're offering credit, they're paying for your tuition. However, what most of them mean is they have to give you an internship or to sponsor an internship and get the help from you that they need in that position. They need to buy the Department of Labor has said to them that they have to apprentice you. So the work that you do is not to help them and their bottom line, but it's to help you grow and learn. So I thought I'd tell you about that, because the government does not want them having you do work that helps them financially when they could be hiring somebody else. You know what I mean? So know that. And when they say, it can be for internship credit, okay, that usually they're open to working with us to making sure that you get the kind of tasks and you meet our requirements, but they're not offering you credit unless they're paying you tuition, because unless they have, we offer credit, they don't. So students are sometimes confused about that.
Okay, so
And I see a question about working for family again, and I don't know if this is the same question, but it's somebody asked, they work for a family business doing marketing. Does that count? Only if somebody in your family's business has lots of years of communications experience and can be your mentor on the communications piece. You need a supervisor who has a lot of experience in public relations or journalism and communications.
And we screen that. I take it real, and I know she does too. We take it very seriously, where if you don't give us enough information about their background, we'll ask for more from you, and then we'll also do a search on these people. I know you probably do it all the time, Professor Ferris. I go on and I'll look at everything they've ever posted. I'll look at their LinkedIn. I'll look at their degree. I'll look at all of it.
And what happens is there's people out there with all these small businesses, or they're an influencer type, and they're just looking for help from somebody that they don't have to pay, or they don't have to pay them very much, but they aren't going to be a good mentor for you. They don't have the experience that we want that person to have to mentor you and help you. They're going to know about entrepreneurial, they're going to know about whatever it is they're promoting, but they're not going to know the nuts and bolts of our profession. And we really want you being mentored by somebody who knows journalism and or public relations and communications.
Yeah, that's interesting, because in our first panel of the seasoned professionals on Tuesday, they said you guys are one of the most marketable groups coming through, because everybody wants to understand the Gen Zs, and you've got it, and they don't understand you as well. So they need your help. They need your skill set, even just what you're all about, because you're such an influential group. So that's exactly, she's right, so be careful. Oh, go ahead.
A digital marketing internship.
Again, it all depends what the skills are. Tell me what the skills are. Public relations is so related to marketing. In fact, they're recruiting for the members of the Bateman team right now. And they, in their charge, they're asked to do a marketing plan. That's what the Bateman team does, a marketing plan. So if there's a lot of marketing communications and you're doing marketing communications work, in fact, Professor Ferris has an illustrious background in marketing communications, and she has her MBA too. So no, it may just work. You just have to make sure you know what the course criteria is right now, don't you? Really, right? You must do skill development in our field, and your site supervisor has to be seasoned. Those are the two major things.
And 100 hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's easy though, usually. Yeah.
Only if you get going right at the start and don't wait till mid-semester to land your internship.
Yeah, it used to be 120, and that was the lowest. I think we're really low now, 100. And that was Dr. Fleming saying, let's lower it a bit. And that way you can do, Fridays. If you could do every Friday, one whole day and just spend there, then you'd have it done, Or if you want to do,
are busy, Professor
of course,
Daugherty.
I know they are.
Jobs. They've got 2 jobs, 3 jobs, commuting, classes. That's a lot. So,
hey girl, I know. I've been here 30 some years. I know our kids pretty well.
Okay, so again, know the instructor that you're enrolled in the class, and for students who are not in classes but want to know more about internships in general, reach out to Professor Daugherty. To conclude, I'm excited to announce that we have the Hollywood Foreign Press Internship Awards. We're going to be awarding 12 $1,500 scholarship awards to students who take internships through 498 this academic year. So I'll send a note out in January and I encourage you to apply. That's like 12 scholarships, $1,500. If you're enrolled in 498, either in fall or spring. So be on the lookout for your emails. Professor Daugherty, any concluding comments?
No, I just wondered, did you work out with financial aid, how that's going to work, or are you guys still working on that?
We are.
Got it. No worries. We'll have more for you. You guys are awesome for being here and turning on your cameras. And I love seeing you. And by the way, I have office hours in the spring in person, but you can always call me or Zoom me or whatever. But I would love to get to know you better. I love my students and I miss you all so much. But anyway, I'm so glad you've made it this far. Most of you are going to graduate pretty soon. Oh my God. So, embrace it and do, yeah. Okay. That's right. Bruno.
Great. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
Thank you, you guys. Oh, you're going to do the drawing, right?
The winners will be, I'm unable to do it right now. The winners will be notified via email within the hour.
Hey, copy us. Woohoo. Okay, Debbie, thank you. You're a doll. Bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Professor Daugherty, Debbie.